just give a short Dhamma meditation. I think most of you are aware, isn't it, when to listen to the news, or you watch all those news from TV or video or from internet, and there's things happening now. There's a protest in US and leads to all this looting and vandalism and riots. And you can see it's just the most basic Buddhist teaching. Things happen according multiple causes and conditions. And this is just a trigger, isn't it? That it's this issue, things you have been building up, because of the COVID, and all these, lots of fear, and lots of those unresolved emotions. And it's building up. It's not only one day, not overnight, isn't it? It's been happening all this time, and that's why it's just like the building up, emotions that will not be resolved, and it's a bomb is already there. You just see who is the one who lead that, isn't it? So it's just that because of these incidents, and actually it's been happening not only now, but why now is lead to this? Because of been building up, and this is the most basic Buddhist teaching. Things don't happen just out of nowhere. That is how it leading. Of course, that is not an easy solution. It's just like when we do knitting, and then sometimes all the threads been entangled. You try to find the where is the start. It's quite difficult, isn't it? It takes time to untangle that, but it doesn't mean it's possible. Sometimes we think that actually I have to start from us. What are we going to do that? No one is born being racist, isn't it? The children know nothing, isn't it? This doesn't mean that they're born, they know that, I'm different, my color, I'm white, or I'm black on this. They don't know, It's just like I would like to quote one of the teaching from the Sutta Nipata. They said, one is low, is not because of birth. Nor does birth make one a noble. So deed alone make one low. Deed alone make one noble. So it's nothing to do with color, where you're born, nothing to do with that. It's all being conditioned. They say it's important that we don't provoke that. They say, some of you here with the children, they say it's important. Start from you. How you educate your children. How to help them to develop right view. And no one is born, isn't it? No one is born being racist. No, children doesn't know anything when they're born. Actually it's how they've been conditioned, they've been told. That's why it's important. If we want to really solve this problem, no point we just blaming this and that. We start from ourselves, we do it from ourselves. How are we going to educate our next generation? Not to provoke hatred. That is important. How to develop right view. And this is not an easy solution, but it takes everybody. We have the responsibility to do that, not in front of the children and provoke that hatred and to condition them. Actually, there's lots of suffering. Imagine if you have lots of hatred, how do you feel? It's not pleasant, isn't it? When you have a lot of hatred towards the other person, you have a lot of anger. It doesn't, do you feel good? It's very unpleasant, So to help them and educate them to be that's why it's good that to be a beautiful person, to have right view. That's why start from the beginning and how we live our life, And because lots of people think that we very easily we blame others for anything, and we just think that we are not part of that. We didn't contribute. Sometimes we contribute towards that, Sometimes always when we have problem, when we have difficulties in life, sometimes it's good to stop and ask ourselves, did I contribute towards that? How this leading up to this? When we experience any difficulties in life, if we keep thinking that someone else, because of you, because of that, because of a family, because of my upbringing, because of my conditioning, then you will never resolve the problem. You never resolve, because you will not look at how we change. You can change. Yes, it's very difficult because we've been conditioned. It's difficult to change, but it's possible. We have to recondition and to change ourselves, Then say it's not what happening to us that really matter. Because we cannot control whoever think that this COVID will happen. I will never close monastery all these years. This is the first time. No, this is something that we never ever thought that it's going to happen, isn't it? No one knows. And we cannot predict what is going to happen next. We all don't know. Completely no control at all. But we can train our mind to be receptive. We can train our mind how to respond, not react. Respond to the situation. And look at it not like, for example, like this COVID happened, and then it's no point that we keep blaming, but at least we look at the good things. At least, I'm still alive, at least I don't have the virus, because things already happened, we can't do anything about it, isn't it? But worrying about it, blaming someone else, it's not going to solve the problem. So we have to go back to ourselves and ask, how are we going to do with the situation right now? Because sometimes things like people want to, think that we got to solve everything in life. Sometimes I can tell you, things sometimes is that is no solution. Sometimes we think that we're going to solve one problem and it gives rise to another problem, like the Buddha's teaching of the dependence origination. You solve this problem, another thing, that dependence arising. And then it leads to another problem. It's just recently we've been fixing our kitchen shelf because it's a bit not stable. And then one of our handymen said, "Oh, you need to put a bracket, and you have to drill to the wall." I said, "No, we can't drill the wall." I said, "Because the cladding is sandstone. If you drill, it's cracked. So don't touch the wall." Then he said, "Oh, maybe I will drill the floor." I said, "Don't touch the floor." Because the floor, we have minor. And because this is the point, it's very low. And then when it's raining, actually it's really damp underneath. And I said, it's quite expensive. We have to treat the floor before we put the liner, because we won't get warranty, because it won't. When it is damp, all the glue pops up, So I said, if you drill it seems like small. It's just a small little hole, I said, when you drill the hole under the wall, you damage you have cracks, you damage the floor, and then because we have done the waterproof. I said, then you damage the floor, and that little hole, little crack, the water will come, the moisture will come out, and then I have to change the whole floor again. Sometimes if you don't see that, sometimes small little thing, how small little thing leads to, I said this is a few more. I said, if this few hole you want to stable, you see, you think that you solve the problem. I said, you want to stabilize the shelf, and then you drill a few hole onto the wall, and then I have to spend thousands of dollars to, It's a mess also when we have to redo the whole floor. Imagine we can't use the kitchen, and so much problem. But sometimes we think that is, sometimes we solve one problem, actually we create another problem, actually a bigger problem, There's sometimes whatever we need to solve, sometimes it's good that we just sit down and have a look, to have a bigger picture. But sometimes we always rush into solving problem. We think that we got to solve the problem right now. But sometimes you don't know what you're getting. You solve one problem, you create another problem, and go on and on and on. And sometimes if you leave it alone, things resolve by itself, isn't it? So that's why sometimes, especially if you don't know what to do at this moment, don't do anything. So I have a very frequent asked questions. People used to come to me, "Oh, I'm not sure. I can't decide right now. I don't know what to do, and to solve my problem." I said, if you don't know what to do, don't do anything. I said, because you don't know what to do. I said, if you don't have the clarity, and And you don't have to force yourself to make a decision. So I said, if now, when you're confused, whatever decision you make, it's not going to work. Because you don't have the clarity. I said, once you don't know what to do, just find a quiet place to make your mind as peaceful as you could. Just be peaceful and calm. And sometimes we resolve a problem, isn't it? Sometimes we sit down and then we relax, And sometimes because of the fear, the worries, and then our mind is not, we can't see things, isn't it? When we are emotional, we can't resolve problem while we are still emotional. So if you want to resolve any problem, the first thing we need to calm ourselves down, make ourselves as peaceful as we could, By thinking that I have to resolve the problem, I have to solve it. Especially when you're emotional, it's not going to work. Sometimes we might make things even worse than before. That's why it's important that how we condition ourselves, how you educate your children. So the fact that you come here today, to offer Dhamma, teach them, practice generosity, and recite the precepts, just not keeping the 5 precepts, to be a good person, to practice restraint. And this is part of the training, and develop kindness and compassion. So develop right view from the young. That's like, this is your responsibility. What kind of you actually we create the world. We create the world ourselves, isn't it? So how you live your life, how you bring up your children. So now it's your responsibility and your duty, how you bring up your children, to help them, to develop right view, to be a beautiful person. So that is something we can do, isn't it? Of course, we can't solve the bigger problem, isn't it? But at least we can. This is something that we can do. At least we know that I have done my best. I do what I can. That is important. Then when we look back at the end of our life, we can say that I have no remorse. I do what I can. I do my best. Everything I do with my best ability. So I have no remorse and no regret throughout all this life. So then when we die, we can die peacefully. So I offer this for Dhamma reflection. May this teaching be benefit to all of you. This is what the Buddha said from the Sutta Nipata. He said that what is law is not because of birth, nor because birth makes someone noble. So deeds makes one low, deeds make one noble. So it's not that what race, what ethnic group that you are born, what family that you are born in, that determine who you are. It's go according to our action, our deeds. Because the core teaching, the Buddha's teaching, is we believe in rebirth. I know, especially in Western country, and some people feel uncomfortable when we talk about rebirth, and they try to avoid, and that we are not really, teaching the core teaching, because the Buddha's teaching the law of karma. And this we don't try to hide, because sometimes people try to modify a little bit with the Buddha's teaching. They talk about, you just be happy, you meditate, be a good person, and that actually we are not treating, we are not going to the source, we are just, just like, how you just, when you're bleeding, you just put a dressing, you just stop the bleeding, it's just temporarily. So most of the, sometimes people teaching that's only, that only treat the symptom, but not really go to the cause. So we don't look into the source, why leading up to this, why we suffer. So we can blame everyone. We can even blame our parents, Yes, maybe sometimes people born in a family, maybe they go through the abuses and, whatever not, And but actually, when the Buddha talk about karma, it's more the Buddha's mention about now. So what we are now is what we have been. what we will be is what we are now. So I like the way the Buddhas explain the karma in a very simple way. He said that a karma, like what we are now, it's just like we inherited a piece of land, like what we have done, our inheritance now. So the piece of land, maybe, when we say some not so good karma, it's just like you inherited a piece of land that is not fertile. You have good karma, so you inherit a piece of land that is really rich and is a good soil, and very fertile land. But it's important, what are you going to do with your life now is important. Because if even you have a fertile piece of land, if you don't make use of it, what's good having a piece of fertile land, isn't it? So that's why we can make the change this life. So our future is life within this moment now. So what are we going to do with our life? Even though, yes, maybe sometimes we do not born in, maybe, material well-being is not that good, maybe we have lots of difficulties. But how we live our life now is important, because this will determine our future. Our future is lies within now, this moment, what we do, how we respond to this moment, how we deal with the situation this moment. If we react and we reinforce that, and then we keep coming back again and again, that is now is important how we deal with it, the situation now. So it's okay, even we don't have a piece of fertile land. If we can put in effort, we can put in fertilizer, we put in a good seed, so we water, we nurture it, and then we grow into a beautiful, fruit trees or whatever trees that we planted, and then we bear the sweet mangoes or sweet fruits, and that is how important now. So yes, wherever we have done in the past, we can't do anything about that, but make sure we don't do it now. So make sure that we cultivate good, and allow the good seed to grow faster. We nurture, we water, we nurture the good seed and let it grow. So those seeds that is not really good we already planted in the past, if we don't water, we don't nurture, it won't grow, isn't it? It won't bear fruit. You see, it's like Angulimala. He get enlightened. Someone, he had done all, he kills so many people, but he been able to enlighten because of he developed the wisdom. He see that he give up of all this unwholesome act, and he cultivate good. So in that life, and he got enlightened. So that's why it's possible. Even a killer can get enlightened. So I'm sure none of us here have done that. The Buddha said you only can't get enlightened if you kill your parents, you kill Arahant, you rape Bhikkhuni, and that's that is normally most people won't do such a horrible thing. That is very, very rare. So it's possible. How we deal with a situation, how we live our life now is important to develop to cultivate, to establish, our mindfulness, we apply the Buddha's teaching in our daily life, just like all of you have been doing, coming here to offer dana, to practice generosity, and commit yourself to live according to the Buddha's teaching by keeping the 5 precepts, restrain yourself, to be a beautiful person, a good person, virtuous person, to live a good life, and that support, is to support your practice, and then we develop our mind through meditation. So we take up the whole path of practice, the Noble Eightfold Path. So there's sometimes that we want to change, actually start from us. How we live our life now is important, So what we have done in the past, we can't change. But what are we going to do with our life right now is important. So the Buddha's the core teaching, a law of karma. So we used to chant every Uposatha that we are the owner of our own karma, heir to our karma, abide and supported by karma. Whatever karma we shall do, or good or for ill, of that I will be the end. Be responsible for our own action. We learn to be responsible for our own action. We don't blame someone else. Yes, sometimes maybe, yes, maybe sometimes maybe sometimes I know some people gone through difficulties, maybe that been, a very difficult childhood. But we have done, we cannot do anything, but we can change now, So our future is life within this moment. So that's why it's important that we take responsibility, and this is, and also we've been conditioned, we've been conditioned from previous life, That's how we have to be conditioned now. That's why it's important. It's no one born as racist, isn't it? A child doesn't know anything, isn't it? When you're born, To them they're very, that to them that this naturally kind, because it's just a piece of paper. A child when they're born is like a piece of paper, blank or white. They are pure. So how are you going to color it? You can put all black. You can have a wonderful rainbow color. It depends on how you're going to condition. That's why it's important how parents raise their children. As some of you bring your children here, it's important how you raise them. How you educate them. Because sometimes through conversation, maybe that sometimes parents, being, you think that the children don't know that pick up, isn't it? Sometimes you think, how did he know, these words, I never taught them, but they are not stupid, they listen. That's why it's important. We teach by example. So what you want your next generation, then it's important that start from yourself, teaching by example and learn, and also have to teach them to take responsibility for their own action. What you do and this is what you get. I know, like for example, I have a frequent asked questions that people used to come to me. They say, because of that sometimes they feel sad, they can't change their parents, or they can't change their sibling, they are not doing things that they're quite right and not very skillful, and they're very sad. And then I said, actually we can only do our best. Yes, maybe you can, because even our parents, our children, they are individual beings. I said that's why from our part we have to learn how to let go. When we said let go, doesn't mean that we don't care. We do our best, but also we understand that we cannot solve everybody's problems. Sometimes they have to go through. We have to go through the process and learn. Sometimes you have to guide them, but sometimes you cannot be too protective. Sometimes you have to let them learn. When you learn to walk, you cannot always hold their hand. You have to let go of the hand, but you'll be around, to guide them, to let them go through the process. That's why sometimes I remember years ago there was someone visiting, and when I told her, this person, then I tell her, this is how you should do. And then she told me she didn't follow my advice, and she told me that I'm not convinced. I said, okay, go ahead and do it. Sometimes you have to let that person do it. Let them experience. Sometimes you cannot tell them, even how many 100 times you tell them. So I used to tell some parents that not to worry so much. Sometimes we tend to worry so much. I said sometimes you have to let go a little bit, not too tight. Let them learn. Then I said when they hit the wall a few times, they know that it hurts. Sometimes it's difficult. I said, yes, we try to. We help our parents. We are, and sometimes people say, when they're happy, I'm happy. When they're sad, I feel so sad. Then I said, life. This is part of life. Like the Buddha said, ups and downs. I said, no one, have anyone here only experienced happiness? No, isn't it? Not happy. There's no happy ever after. There's fairy tale, But if there's fairy tale, no happy ever after. I say it's normal. If they experience happiness, fine. You practice mudita, you rejoice. Okay, sadhu, very good. And they have difficulties, they're suffering. So you have empathy. You can always be there to listen, to be there for that person, to give them moral support. Even though we can't solve the person's problem, at least we can care, isn't it? Kind. Sometimes what people need, we can always care. Even though we can't solve the other person's problem, because we can't. Even the Buddhas can't do it. We have to solve our own problem. We have to develop our own wisdom. To solve our own difficulties in life. But even though we can't solve everybody's problems, but we can always care, can always be there for the person, and to listen to the person, because sometimes people need to err, and this is part of life. Like the Buddha said, our life is like you threw the bucket into the well, and it's ups and downs. Sometimes it's hit the wall, isn't it? Wall of the well, and we go round. And our life is ups and downs, go round and round. And if you understand that it's part of life, what do we expect? And that's why where we learn to let go. So we learn, to understand that what we can do, what we can't do. But then we create lots of suffering for ourselves and know our strength, know our limitation. Then we don't create unnecessary suffering for ourselves. So I offer this for Dhamma reflection. May this teaching be benefit to all of you. So now we're going to share the merits in English. By the time you have the intention to come here to offer Dhamma, all your thoughts and energy had gone into the preparation of the food, thinking of what you're going to bring to offer, and making the effort to come here on time. The offerings of food for today's meal, the offerings of other requisites for the monastery. Commit yourself to live according to the Buddha's teaching by keeping the 5 precepts, and also listen with respect to the Buddha's teaching. These are parts of the merits of today's Dhamma. May you be very happy as you reflect the goodness of your life right this moment. First of all, I would like to invite you to share the merits that you have made. That is happiness in your heart with your parents, your teachers, and those are close to you, by bringing them to mind and wishing them well. We also remember our departed dear ones, relatives and friends. May the remembrance of them and sharing of merits with them be a cause for happiness and peace. May it help them to have a favorable rebirth, where they can hear and practice the Buddha's teaching, where the material needs are easily met, where they have the opportunity of making good karma for their own support in Dhammasara. And may this sharing of merits with our departed dear ones also help them all to attain Nibbana. We also share the merits with the devas and with all beings everywhere. May the offerings of merits to devas and to all beings everywhere be a cause for happiness and peace. May the devas ably protect the Buddha's sasana. May they look with loving kindness and compassion on all of us here, and our loved one near and far. And may these offerings of merits to devas and to all beings everywhere also help them